It's getting interesting. I mean, it's been interesting the whole way, but today I'm just shaking. So let's see what they have to say. Um, so it's really interesting because right away when I close my eyes, there's a lot of energy, yes, but what's interesting is it's a different kind of energy today. Um, like I can hear angels singing, but it's like a higher vibration than I have heard them singing before. And if you feel energy, I just encourage you to maybe just close your eyes and feel this and hear this. If you can hear energy, it's it's the sound of joy. uh, and the frequency is so pure. And what they want you to know and to feel is really what's coming for humanity. What's the next step, right? So we've come through the the gate, if you will. You can call it whatever, a portal, gateway. There's a whole bunch of different people calling it a whole bunch of different things, which is amazing because that shows us how many people are actually aware of what's really going on in the universe, right? But what it is we're in the new world, right? So we talked about that pretty extensively in part 149 and 150. Now, in my community, in the work that I'm doing, all of the people that I've been working with, we've been preparing for this for the last 20 years. So we've been becoming more, right, more aware of who we are and why we were created. Why? Because we can't create the new world if you don't have the truth of who you are. You can't participate. So in part 151, they were talking a lot about recognizing that you have a mission in the world, right? And you know that, like, you're meant to do something here. You're meant to change the world. You're meant to help save humanity. But now they're going to start to help you understand why you have that feeling in such a way, well, for you to decide. So they want me to tell you a little bit of a story. So in 2013, well, in 2012, so before that, so 20, 2007, they said, Michelle, can you write a book? And I was like, well, I don't know how to write a book. And so for 5 years, I put it off. And then, long story short, in 2012, I finally sat down, dedicated space for 1 week, and wrote a book. And I wrote this book. But this book, it's called Believe, okay? But what it is it's a description of the 9 fundamental energies of existence that each human is based on, but also that existence itself, this particular universe in existence, is based on, okay? Why is that important? Why did that change everything? Because when you understand what the 9 basic energies are, everything comes from them, okay? And so everything started to make sense. And then I would go into greater explorations with universal beings and more made sense. And then they would say something else and it's not that it ties back, it's that it comes together, okay? That's the difference. When you're talking about universal intelligence or, consciousness itself, everything is connected, but it doesn't tie back to something, right? Humans have been trained to tie it back to something. That's why when you're trying to heal, right? And, when I start giving someone messages about, what's going on at this particular point in your life, and, and that it was derived from an aspect of your childhood, they're like, oh, yes, let me tie it back to what I know. And that's not how the universe works. The universe doesn't tie things back to something. It interconnects everything. And that's consciousness, right? Consciousness understands the impact not only to one side, but to every aspect of existence itself. So when you have an experience, your experience of it, your reaction to it, and how that impacts everyone else, all of those experiences, every single one, are impacting existence itself. And most people don't believe that they're that important. What a little old me, I don't matter. That's why when you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to do this because no one's watching, no one's looking. But it's not recorded like a video camera, right? It's recorded in existence. Everything you do matters because you're impacting existence. You're impacting your future. This is the significance of what's going on right now, right? We're coming back to that place where we participate in existence consciously. Consciously means you understand that everything you do matters. Not everything you do, you need to be punished, you need to be held accountable, you need to be reprimanded, or it needs to be highlighted with a negative, judgmental perspective. That's not what we're talking about, okay? It's understanding that existence itself is actually really pretty simple, okay? Existence was originally for humans because we've told the whole story of creation. But for humans, it was come in and explore your potential inside this universe so we can expand the universe. That's it. Explore your potential. We're going to give you every aspect of existence. We're going to give you awareness of all of it. We're going to give you every ability you could possibly need, every bit of information, because you have access to consciousness, which is the history of existence, okay? In real time, right? There's nothing hidden. There's no classified information. And your job is to expand what's already here. That's it. So this is how you can, when you start to understand existence, then you can understand conditioning better. Because most people just are angry because you feel the repression. You feel like you can't do things or say things or whatever it is that you want to do. And so you feel that repression, but it's actually the conditioning. And how can they condition you? Because they've taken away your right to understand who you are, to know who you are. Now, it's not like you demand them to give you the right back. No, you demand them to release the classified information. No, it's that all you have to do is remember. But you can't remember if you're so angry and focused on how angry you are. That's literally what blocks you from seeing truth, your anger, every single time. And so what's happening on a bigger scale is you can feel it, right? There's people that are getting more angry, more frustrated, more assertive with their angry. And why? Because humanity is being pushed to see truths that they don't want to see, that they're not emotionally ready to see, and yet energetically, you're fully prepared. Fully prepared. So what does that mean? That you can be energetically fully prepared, but emotionally not ready at all. Okay? So that means that you've built a life based on a lack of truth. You've based your life on lies. You've based your truth on, oh, that's good enough. Nobody will notice. Nobody will see it. It's okay. And this is where we have to come together. Not all of us together. All the pieces of you need to come together. and actually confront each other, face each other, and recognize, oh, I can see where I didn't do as good a job as I could have, or I see where I pretended that I, couldn't do better than this. And ultimately, that's the hardest part for humans to get, for humans to want to participate in. Okay. Why? Well, we've been conditioned to not want to see the truth, right? We've been conditioned to fear it, but more importantly, it's understanding how they can condition you to fear it. That's the really crazy part, is because it threatens your livelihood, it threatens your safety, it threatens your comfort, right? Or it threatens the comfort or safety of those you love. Super easy to condition people, right? And so now what we're doing is, so the last 30 years ultimately have been in preparation for what's going on now. So 30 years of giving you every single opportunity possible to see where you didn't want to see truth or where you were uncomfortable seeing truth, okay? So every challenge you've had has been directly connected to truth every single time. But what's really fascinating and what's interesting is now that we've stepped into and through this gate, that we're now in this new world. So the world that we were preparing for, we've all walked through it. Every single human, okay? Nobody's been left behind, right? Because that's not how this works. It's understanding that when the creator chooses for the universe itself to step into a new frequency and a new vibration, everybody goes. Everybody. So, a lot of people have said, it's like Mercury retrograde and it's the craziest Mercury retrograde we've ever had. No, it's actually the new world and we're all here and we're smack in the middle of facing the truths about ourselves that we haven't wanted to see. Okay? Maybe you're feeling lonely. Maybe you're feeling disrespected, or maybe you're feeling disconnected. Whatever it is, you're feeling it for a reason. And you need to get out of that place where you feel like that experience is because you're being punished for something that you did wrong. Because that whole belief system, it's done now. It's done. The whole concept of judgment no longer exists unless you try to take it with you, okay? And so what's currently unfolding on the planet is, it's funny because it's literally like millions of angelics. There's so many other, there's billions of them. And then there's all these other beings. There's light beings, there's star beings, there's fairies, like everyone's working together. Every universal being in existence is working together to overcome judgment. Now, when you think about it this way, okay, judgment culture is what was used to shape the concept of human conditioning. So this is not just a little hurdle that we have to overcome. It's massive. It's giant. It's like Mount Everest, and we all have to go over it, right? We can't go through it. We have to go over. And some of you have been doing this for 30 years. Some of you have been pretending it's not really happening, and you're just, going about your time and your day. And so now you're having to face the reality of it now. But it's important to understand that there is no judgment on when you started. If you started 30 years ago and you're exhausted because you feel like you've been doing it forever, or if you started last week and you're like, oh my gosh, mine was more intense than yours, stop competing with everybody else, okay? The reality is judgment culture is leaving. And in order to do it, in order for you to participate, right? This is one of those opportunities where you're going to save humanity. But how do you do it? By participating in what the universe is driving, right? So The creator doesn't sit up there, for lack of a better term, and watch over everyone and say, this is what you need to do. He says, this is where the frequency and vibration of the universe is going. And as a soul, you're like, oh, this is such a cool experience. But the human side of you that's been conditioned is like, no, I don't want that. I don't have enough time for that. And, my partner won't love that, or they won't let me do this, or my boss doesn't see how amazing I am. All of the things, right? We have lists of reasons that we're not doing it. And what happens is your day-to-day life becomes so much harder than it needs to be. And it's not because you're not trying, you're not putting in effort. It's because your effort is going to the conditioning itself. And that's the part where most of us are like, no, I don't participate in conditioning. I'm not mean. I'm not controlling. I'm not manipulative. But if you're participating at a frequency and vibration, which is aligned with a belief system of judgment, you are 100% participating against yourself. Okay? So, what does alignment look like, right? Universal alignment. What does universal alignment look like and feel like? It's recognition of who you are and why you were created, right? We talked about the 6 core beliefs that are vital to your belief system really going through this transformation. And it's understanding that those 6 core beliefs are directly related to existence, right? So, and they're just showing me right away, the first belief you have to overcome is that we've been taught that ancient humans were archaic, right? Like cavemen, and they were limited, and we are the evolution of them, right? We have come so far. So that's the first belief that has to go in order for you to reach your potential and restore your natural state of being. Because original humans were highly intelligent, fully conscious beings that participated in existence and evolution. But participation in existence and evolution is not like participating in the conditioned state of being. It's completely different. It's based in joy, respect, compassion, love, truth, purity, illumination, balance, and movement. That's what existence is based in. And so when you're in your natural state of being, that's how you exist. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to take a moment to feel into this, okay? What would your life look like if you had 0 stress, 0 burden, 0? 0. That everything you do is completely filled with joy. Can you even imagine what that would look like? Because I've been thinking about it for a couple days and I'm still in a little bit of shock. But here's the truth. Most people don't understand joy, universal joy. They think it's just being happy all the time. I just want to be happy. That's not joy. That's not joy. Joy is recognition of the experiences you're having. Full recognition. It's being able to be in your challenges and recognize that they are contributing to the evolution of you as a human being who is an extension of your soul, the reason you exist in this universe. And that experience that you're having in this moment right now is contributing to the evolution of human existence. You see, when you have those feelings that you're meant to save humanity, that's what they're talking about. You restoring your ability to participate in evolution and contributing to evolution. Because that's the part that needs to come back, right? Because evolution stalled. It stopped when the conditioning began. Why? Because if there's even one tiny single part of you, I mean, it took 50,000 years to get to where we are. But even if there's one single tiny part of you that doubts your existence, that doubts your ability, anything, you're not evolving. Evolution needs 100% of you on board all the time. It's a state of being that is fundamentally different than the human condition. I personally have only experienced it. They're showing me like 9 or 10 times for extended periods of time. Sorry, just taking the blanket off my lap. It's warm. You know, one of the experiences was conceiving my son. I was in a full state, and I had been for 4 months. It's a long time to hold energy and to hold that space inside a world where we are heavily conditioned. And yet I was able to participate long enough to bring him, my son, into the world in a way that hadn't been done before. The reason this is significant is because this is where we're coming back to, all of us, all of humanity. We're coming back to the place where human existence is once again restored to our natural state of being. How do we do that? That's where this comes in. The 9 fundamental aspects of universal existence, we're bringing them back. Well, the Creator's bringing them back, which means we get to learn. We get to remember what each aspect of existence is. Now, you know, we've been studying these, again, since 2012 in my community and through the book, yes, but then it was fascinating because there was a bunch of people who had read the book and said, Michelle, can you explain each one of the energies more? And so the universal beings and we got together and we created a program, the Elevate Experience, so that everyone could have the experience of holding these energies for 9 minutes each. Why? Because that's alchemy. If you can hold one of these energies for 9 minutes, you can actually transcend the conditioning and become the energy again. Super cool. And now we're at a new level because we've come through into this new world. And I just learned this a couple of days ago. So I'm still like super excited about this. But ultimately, we're going to build these 9 energies back into the future of human existence, right? And we're starting with joy. We're starting with joy. I don't know how long this is going to take. They're showing me it's going to take years to build it back to where it is meant to be. And that's awesome because the people who, you can feel it. So the people who came to get us to the gate and only to the gate, a lot of them are leaving now because that was their job. They fulfilled it and they're done. And because we've gone through. But currently, we have an incredible amount of humans who know that what's coming next is going to be unbelievable. and unbelievable in the sense that humanity is not really prepared for where we're going. That's why, yeah, it's really cool. I mean, we've talked about all the fact that all these seemingly superpowers are going to be, humans are all of a sudden going to be able to do it, right? But that's our natural state of being. Every aspect of existence is going to be out at your fingertips again. It's just that it's not hidden anymore. So, but the thing is, it's hard to believe for so many people. And yet, there's hundreds of thousands. And now they're showing me we're going from hundreds of thousands into the millions. So everything it's not that it's ramping up, it's that think about your journey, okay? And how you got here today. It was layer upon layer upon layer of truth that came in. And so the layers of truth are just revealing more and more. So what happens is now when one piece of truth is revealed, remember, it interconnects 50 things that have gone on with you in the last maybe 10 years. Maybe it's 20 years. Maybe it's 5 years. Maybe it's 2 days. But it's understanding that that's the kind of truths that are coming out now, the ones that interconnect everything. Because we've gone through the gate, that's how the energy is ramped up, right? So the frequency and vibration of existence is higher than it's ever been, but the frequency and vibration of humanity is closer to our natural state of being that it's been in 50,000 years. That's a significant event in human existence. Because you have to remember that before conditioning, we never had to go through overcoming conditioning, right? So the humans that are here now, you did come in for a mission. You are here to save humanity, but it's not in the way that we've been taught saviors exist, right? Like Martin Luther King and Jesus and, Gandhi and whoever else comes in. It's understanding that the savior part of this is you remembering the truth, because that's what makes you powerful. Powerful isn't control over others. It's not manipulating others. That's conditioning. Powerful means you become a full reflection of your natural state of being, who you were created to be. Your frequency and vibration is pure again. And we're starting that journey with joy. That's the first energy they want to resurrect. Now, it's important to understand that the universal beings know exactly what we need. Every single step of the way. Remember, they're the ones who created you. They're the ones who created existence. So when they created humans, for example, they knew what to put in. And then they would try this, and then they were like, oh, let's put a little bit of this or a little bit of that, or take a little bit of this away. They're the ones who created the exact frequency and vibration and representation on a energetic, so there's the universal angelic or energetic, there's the soul energetic, and there's the physical energetic. So all 3 different layers. They created that opportunity for you to come and explore. They gave it to you. And the reason it's being restored in such a particular way is because they know what the best way is, right? When I asked them, what's humanity's greatest challenge? And they said self-worth. And then to heal the self-worth, they took us on a year-long journey. I went for 12 years, I studied it. And then through those 12 years, from between my work, right? Because here's the other part, and this is the part that most people don't get. Universal beings can't change anything for human existence without a human involved and participating. Why? Okay. because we come back to the concept of free will. So free will determines what humans consciously choose to participate in. Now, if there's not any human that consciously chooses to participate in it, it can't happen. It just can't. And so in order for, this is going to maybe help you understand a little bit of the partnership that I have had with universal beings, but I also know that there's, tens of thousands of humans. Now we're going into millions of humans who have that same partnership. You probably have aspects of it or all of it or more than me. It's not a competition. Again, it's understanding that when you receive information from universal beings, okay, your frequency and vibration changes. When we talk about expansion, okay, expansion ultimately means you coming into alignment with your natural state of being. That's all it is. And yet, that's how incredible it is. You see, it's not, competition. It's a part of judgment culture, and it's a part of all of this. And we're going to, that's part of what we're going to be working through with joy, okay? But it's understanding that no one human person in existence is better than any other person in existence. And yet it's not about helping each other and telling each other what to do. It's about holding each other in a space where we don't judge each other as we're all trying to work towards the truth and figure it out. Humans need to talk through the experiences they're having. Well, we don't need to. Let me rephrase that. If you want to expand your energy, you need to talk it through. You need to work it through, right? So this is why everything is accelerating even more right now. Because for the last 30 years, most of us have talked about it with one or two people in small groups, or there's a lot of people who don't talk to anybody because there isn't anyone in their life that they can talk it through. So they're watching videos, they're listening to podcasts, this is going back, I remember dial-up, right? Like you're looking at websites and, what did they call them? They were ascension signs and upgrades, and everyone's searching for all this information as much as they can get, right? And what's happening now is the things that we were searching for 30 years ago have become mainstream, right? All of them. And so what that looks like, again, the frequency and vibration has increased of all of humanity. And even for the people who don't get it, who don't believe, who are judgmental, who are focused on all the negativity, it doesn't matter. Because if they're still focused on ETs and they're angry about it and they're frustrated that they're thinking that they're real. I'm just using ETs for an example, okay? And then all of a sudden, the government releases documents that says, well, we've been hiding this. You have society again split. Right? This is part of the conditioning. Let's get them to fight against each other, right? I mean, they literally did it with all the countries in the world. Let's create borders and we'll create all these different experiments to see how we can condition all these different groups of people. And then we'll give them different languages and we'll give them different cultures. And then if they get angry at each other, it's all designed, right? To get angry at each other and create wars and all these things. But it's understanding that that's the basis. That's part of the basics of conditioning 101, right? And so in overcoming this, because that's what we're doing, we now have people who still want to participate in those two camps, me against you, right? The opposition. Or we have the people who are getting it. They're getting it. And when you get it, everything looks different. You're calmer. When other people recognize things that other people are doing, you don't have an emotional reaction to it. You have respect and compassion. Zero pity. Pity lives in the other side, lives in the judgmental side. Inside of truth and where we're going, it's an awareness, a complete respect for who that person is and where they are. Zero need for them to be anybody else. Zero need. It's a tricky place to be when we've been conditioned to put people in boxes, to judge them all the time. Judgment is our go-to. But joy is what is going to heal judgment. Joy is going to heal judgment culture. So where do you start? Gosh, I know this is a lot of information today, but they know you're ready because otherwise they wouldn't have shared it. And where we're going into the depths. Like they're showing me diving into the ocean and I am so deep. I can't see the bottom, but I can't see the top either. But there's zero fear. And that's where we're going. We're going into the depths of our soul, into the depths of existence in the universe, so we can actually restore our natural state of being. And it starts by healing joy. So you're not out there looking for everything to be happy. What you're going to do is start to notice where you bring burden into your life. Where are you carrying burden? Where are you carrying pressure? Pressure to perform, pressure to get things done. Just start to notice, because you're going to begin to see how much pressure you put on yourself, okay? How much pressure you feel from other people. How much pressure you feel to perform and to participate in life and existence in particular ways. But that's all part of the conditioning. All of it. And we have to leave it behind. Don't worry about what you need to do to leave it behind. Because I've been working with universal beings consciously for 22 years. I've been working with them for my whole life. And it is incredible the stories I have. But right now, the most incredible thing to do is just listen. Keep it simple, because universal existence is simple. If you try to complicate it, right? Because that's, again, in the conditioning we've been taught, the more complicated things are, the more valuable they are. That's how they got us. It's another example of how they got us. And that is a huge part of conditioning, right? The whole hierarchy system, all conditioning, it's all judgment, all of it. So we're going to come back over here and we're going to focus on noticing the burdens that you're carrying. Anything that makes you feel like you have a burden, you need to look at it. Just need to look at it, need to see. Why did you choose it? Where did it come from? But here's the really, really interesting part. When you're looking at why you chose it, where it came from, how it's affecting you, how it's impacting your life, can you do it without judgment? Because that's the key. That's the key to actually going into the truth. Because if you can't do it without judgment, you're not going to get to the truth. So what is the truth? What is seeing all of these aspects of burdens without judgment? It's recognizing that you've got to go about 10 layers deeper than you've been going. So, I do this and it doesn't matter. My kids put this on me, or my partner, or my job, and they just don't get it. All judgment. All judgment. Your life is nobody else's fault at all. Not your neighbor's fault, not the stranger. Nobody else's fault. That's the first thing you have to come to. Like, Even Jesus, like he's here and he's holding space and he's showing me him on the cross. It's nobody else's fault. That's how poignant this is. He says it's nobody else's fault that he's on the cross. That's the level of compassion, respect, awareness that he has as a soul in this universe. That's where we need to go. It's not he's the savior and we need him to tell us what to do. No, you are meant to be at the same level of conscious awareness that Jesus and the creator and every other universal being are at. That's how we're meant to interact. That's how we're meant to exist. We just have physical bodies. It's not a whole bunch of gods running around. We're all universal beings. There is no hierarchy. You have to stop thinking about beings as gods and, whatever else your brain wants to do, because again, those are all judgments. Oh, you can see we're going to go so deep into all of this. And the depth we're going is going to reflect the restoration of your natural state of being. So I'm inviting you to come along. I'm inviting you to take a chance, take a deep breath, and dive in to actually explore the reality of who you are, the truth of who you are. So all those burdens that you carry, that you think you need to carry, that vigilante approach to life that says, I'm proud of carrying all of these burdens. Look at how much I'm carrying. Or maybe you hold shame for them and guilt because you're walking around and you don't really know who you are. You don't understand what brings you joy and what makes you happy anymore. Come for the ride. I assure you that it will 100% restore joy in you. You don't have to work too hard because that's the whole point. You got to put effort in, yes, but it's not about getting 10 steps ahead, because I guarantee you, if you try and do more than the step they're saying, you're going to waste your time and you're going to waste your effort because you're not going to go in the right direction. Because what you're doing is you're aligning yourself with, okay, Michelle said, look for the burdens. And now how am I going to overcome them? And you're going to try and overcome them inside the human condition, and it won't work. Just take a deep breath and know that you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're in the flow of universal restoration. Have some fun. I'm Michelle Vickers. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch the story of creation for the beginning, click on the button. I 100% can tell you, you will not be disappointed if you are looking to restore your natural state of being and you actually want to access universal level truth so you can just step into it, right? So you can flow into your evolution instead of feeling like you're being dragged, kicking and screaming. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.